tonight. Anthony Weiner is on his apology tour. His wife is on a trip to Africa. Republicans, of course, are in full hypocrisy mode. We're going to get into that in a second. And Democrats are throwing him under the bus. That's our lead story tonight. Today, former DNC Chairman Tim Kaine became the most prominent Democrat so far to call on Weiner to resign.
Lying is unforgivable. Lying publicly about something like this is unforgivable, and he should resign.
Oh, please. All these politicians lie all the time. It's as if they're shocked and chagrined. Oh, my God, a politician lied. I didn't see that coming. By the way, way to stand by your man there. You know, that's typical Democratic strength. Remember that guy, Tim Kaine, was a guy who was running the DNC, head of the Democrats, until a little while ago. Very strong. And, of course, Republicans are attacking the rest of the Democratic leadership for failing to demand Weiner's resignation. Here's RNC's chairman, Reince Priebus.
Nancy Pelosi needs to do her job and be a leader of her caucus and tell Anthony Weiner to really hit the bricks and go home.
But what about Republicans like David Vitter, John Ensign, Mark Sanford, and Larry Craig, who clung to power long after their own scandals erupted?
I don't think two wrongs make a right, and I'm not defending those folks. I'm the chairman of the Republican National Committee now, not years ago.
Yeah, of course. The smell of rank hypocrisy has been all over the GOP these last few days. Majority Leader Eric Cantor is calling for Weiner to step down, but he was singing a very different tune a couple of years ago when it came to Ensign and Sanford.
If you're going to talk the talk, why not walk the walk and say, you know what, they should step down?
Well, listen, I mean, again, I say in the instance of the people in South Carolina and Nevada, it is up to them. I mean, those are the elected individuals by those states.
Of the sex scandal Republicans I just named, only David Vitter is still in office, and his case is perhaps the worst of them all. In 2007, the Louisiana senator apologized publicly after his name was found on the prostitution client list for a famous D.C. madam.
I want to again offer my deep, sincere apologies to all those I have let down and disappointed, and I'm so very, very sorry.
Vitter never faced a Senate ethics investigation. He never faced criminal charges in D.C. or in Louisiana, where he was implicated in a separate prostitution scandal. Instead, he got a standing ovation from his Republican colleagues when he returned to the Senate and apologized in person. They embraced him. He's back in the fold. So why does Congressman Weiner have to go and Vitter gets to stay? No one has been able to explain that. That's because they can't. It's just a different standard. The Republicans stood together and didn't give a damn that their guy admitted to doing something obviously illegal. They even applauded him. And the media, after a while, they just let it go. Whereas now, the media and the Democrats are insistently trying to hound Weiner out of town. It makes no sense, but it's Washington. It doesn't have to. By the way, of all things tonight, David Vitter is collecting cash in D.C. If you're in Washington right now, you can run to the Vitter fundraiser being hosted tonight at a posh townhouse belonging to a Republican lobbyist. It starts at 6:30, but if you hurry, you can still make it, just as long as you have $2,500 to give Mr. Vitter. Now, is anyone rushing to give Congressman Weiner anything other than a one-way ticket out of town? Well, let's talk about this hypocrisy. Joining me now is GOP strategist Brad Blakeman. Brad, we appreciate you coming on tonight.
Sure.
All right, first of all, what do you think? Does Weiner have to go?
I do. I think Weiner has to go. He violated the ethics, certainly, of his office. He used his office and the power of his office to deceive and lie by his own admission. And I think, yes, he has to go. And with regard to your lead up to this story, certainly there have been Republicans with morality problems. There are Democrats with morality problems. But it makes no sense to talk about what others have done when we're talking about one case and one case only. And that's the four corners of the facts of the Weiner case. And based on that, based on his own admissions, yeah, he should go.
All right, you're talking about one case only. I'm not. I'm talking about David Vitter. Why is he going to stay?
You have the right to do that.
Okay, so answer that question for me, because I think that's really interesting. I think the audience is wondering, wait a minute, that guy actually did something illegal. Weiner's not even charged with anything illegal at all.
Well, we don't know if Weiner did anything illegal yet, do we?
Okay, all right, but so tell me why Vitter should stay then. I mean, here it was a guy who broke the trust of his people, who broke the trust of his wife.
Vitter was
he
reelected
was with hookers.
By his state. And also, Vitter did not admit to the allegations that were swirling around, which still remain to be allegations. We know the facts
wait
of
a
what,
minute.
Of
he
what
said that
Weiner
he
did.
apologized for being with the D.C. madam. Are you trying to claim now that he wasn't with the D.C. madam after that enormous apology?
No, I don't. But if you look at what he said and what was alleged, certainly what he admitted to isn't what was alleged. Was he found on the list? Yes, he was found on the list, and he made an apology. He was also reelected by his state. Far different from the case.
So you think that Weiner should be able to be reelected by his own district? Just let him go to reelection?
I think at this point, this is exactly why the American people have such low esteem of Congress, because as you said on the outset of this story, what's a lie? We don't, and we shouldn't condone our elected officials, whether they be Republican or Democrats, lying. That's exactly what he did, and he used the power of his office, in holding press conferences within the Capitol grounds to deceive and lie. And the reason why he did it is because he wanted to stay in power. That's not the facts of the Vitter case. He didn't use the power of his office to violate the law. Weiner obviously violated the ethics.
Wait, now there's a couple things you threw in there that I don't agree with at all, okay?
Sure.
First of all, we don't have any facts that Weiner violated his office to break any laws at all. We know, based on the admissions of Senator Vitter, that he appears to have broken the law. So, and as far as Vitter, he denied it all the way until they got his telephone number on the madam's list, and all of a sudden he found his way to admitting it. So he was lying all along. Look, I have a consistent standard on it. And to me, the sex lies of these guys, even in a case like Vitter where he broke the law, I actually say that's his own life. And I don't want to get into it, right? And I didn't say at the time that Vitter has to go. I'm consistent on it. I didn't say Lee had to go. I'm consistent on it. But I'm asking you if you and the Republicans are consistent. Why in the world should Vitter stay and Weiner go? That seems to make no sense to the average person.
This is water over the bridge because the people of Louisiana reelected him in spite of what he admitted to and what the allegations were.
So when Republicans do it, it's water over the bridge.
In this instant case,
when Democrats do it, they got to go immediately.
Wait a second. Is there any doubt that Congressman Weiner used the power and prestige of his office to not only disgrace his institution, but also to muscle his way?
There's a lot of doubt.
And really? Where did he have his press conference? He had it up on the Hill, didn't he? Within the grounds of the Capitol? Didn't he call?
If he didn't have it at the Hill, you would have said he didn't have a press conference at the Hill.
No, but where did he make his admission?
That has nothing to do with anything.
Where did he make his admission? He made his admission at the Sheraton Hotel in New York because his lawyers probably told him you can't do it on government property.
Are you really saying that the difference is that Weiner held a press conference on Capitol Hill because he's a congressman?
He used the power and prestige of his office.
Do you even know where
Weiner
held his press conference?
I am telling you, in the facts in this case, Weiner used his staff to lie in his behalf. They're the ones who set up this interview. He used the grounds of the Capitol in order to pull this charade. That's a fact. I'm not making up facts. This is what happened.
All the time that he was covering up all the hookers he was with, never used his staff to say,
"How do you know all the hookers that he was with?"
Okay,
he never said
he's the
that.
one who
He never admitted to that.
He admitted to being with the D.C. madam. Wait a minute. Did he or did he not admit to being with a hooker in Washington, D.C., D.C. madam? Didn't he say, "I went to that hooker"?
You are alleging many acts as fact that he has never admitted to.
So you think that maybe he only went to the D.C. madam
I don't know how many times he went there.
So maybe he only went to a hooker once.
You're mixing apples with oranges.
Because he didn't say I went many times, which is likely to be the case. So let's say it's just one time that he went to that hooker that you're now defending. So he went to the hooker. And so when he went to that time, do you think he didn't use his office at all to say, hey, you know what, I'm at a different meeting? Do you think he told his Senate office, hey, guys, I'm going to visit a hooker down the street. Can you guys cover for me? Do you think that's what Senator Vitter did? Yet
there's
no investigation.
There's no proof that he used his office, but there is proof.
You know why there's no proof?
Because
the Republicans covered for him. And wouldn't do an investigation. There was no investigation. Why did they ask for an ethics investigation on Weiner, but we let Senator Vitter just walk scot-free? Look, do you understand why I'm bringing this up? Okay, it's because people look at it and go, wait a minute, that's not fair. That's not right. Why do Republicans and Democrats have two different standards?
The Republicans don't have a monopoly on morality. There are certainly Republicans that are straight and Democrats that are straight. Look at Barney Frank. Isn't Barney Frank still up there? He housed a prostitute in his house. How about President Clinton? He remained as president when he took advantage of an intern on the solemn grounds of the White House. He was impeached and he was disbarred. Come on.
Look, I got to say it one last time. I have been incredibly consistent on all this, whether it was Frank, whether it was Clinton, whether it was Schwarzenegger, whether it was Lee, even Mark Sanford. I said, look, that's their private business, okay? And I was the first guy to call out Sanford, saying there's no way he's on the Appalachian Trail. That's a lie.
And
it turned out I was right.
Who did just the same.
But it doesn't mean that it had anything to do with the budget in South Carolina, etc. But you guys are not consistent on it. When it's a Republican, you close ranks and you say,
Democrats are not consistent on it.
But
Democrats aren't consistent.
Like, oh, he's got to go.
We forced the congressman up in New York out, and all he did was bare his chest in a photo on Facebook. Rather on Craigslist.
No. Chris Lee.
We forced him out.
Chris Lee ran for the hills when we found out who else he might have been sending messages on Craigslist to.
We forced him out. The Republicans forced him out.
I don't know about that. That's not how I remember it. But, all right, listen, Brad Blakeman.
Your facts are different than mine.
Okay, Brad Blakeman, Republican strategist. Really, we do thank you for your time tonight. We appreciate the conversation.
Appreciate it.